Hey guys, Steve here. I'm going to be doing kind of a different video real quick today. Firstly, happy Mother's Day to any mothers who, for some reason, are watching this video. Don't know how you got here, but there you go. I'm titling this video, Be Careful What You Post on the Internet, and it's sort of ultimately the takeaway, I guess, for this video. This isn't necessarily related to wargaming or board gaming, only sort of barely connected to it, I guess. Just wanted to take some time to vent a little frustration about something I encountered this morning, and watch this and keep this in mind in all your future internet endeavors related to the hobby. So for the most part, I'm happy to say that this YouTube channel and most of my online presence that's public facing is completely lacking in political stuff, right? And I think for the most part everyone is that way, at least I'd like to think they are, that the hobby can only barely be connected to current politics unless you're playing a modern day war game that is dealing with policy effects that lean a certain political way, and maybe there's a point of discussion with that. But for the most part, politics shouldn't enter the hobby space very much, or you usually don't need to worry about that. When you're connected and you meet people in the hobby and you become friends with them, you might run into some political talk, and it's usually not a big deal. I hope this channel, if I'm doing this channel justice, you're never going to know what my political leanings are, and it should stay that way, because it doesn't ultimately matter. Either way, you should be able to enjoy all of my content without knowing my political leanings. But one of the things that I guess I ran into this morning is that I had been friends, or connected on social media with another hobbyist, and connected to their personal account. And of course, social media is a place where people like to post political things, and you get political fights. And there was something, some article was shared, and somebody else who was not the original poster, someone I'm not familiar with, decided to post a very like an offhand kind of insult type of remark dealing with politics, and in the United States, and I guess in relative terms maybe it's not so divisive, but I think in the United States the political field right now is fairly divisive, and a lot of people get kind of ugly with discussing political matters. And this person, I think, was contributing to that in what they were saying. And of course I made the mistake of chiming in and basically saying, hey, we shouldn't, talk like that about folks that may disagree with us politically. And I didn't say it in those words so diplomatically. I got involved as sort of a point of comparison in saying, we shouldn't go about, being that divisive or contributing to that divisiveness in that way. And talk to actual policy differences, not personal attacks on people. And avoiding generalizations, right? And I think whether you're on one side of the spectrum or the other, somewhere in the middle, you're an individual with all the different, political beliefs that you might have, that sort of thing I think should be okay no matter what, to be able to say, hey, don't make overgeneralizations. And, I think there are issues with whomever, and, if you talk to specifics, that's better than some broad generalization. And, of course, like any good social media fight that I'm sure, if you've had the misfortune of being involved in one, someone starts quoting, some factoid without backing it up with information, and it sort of devolves from there into an uglier kind of thing. And I tried to stay as diplomatic as I could. I probably could have done a lot better of a job, as my own admission, but one of the things that I ended up doing, I think, is rubbing the person who originally posted said article the wrong way. And what it ended up leading to is, me potentially making a bad assumption or jumping to a conclusion. And I even, for my part, tried to apologize for that and kind of walk that back and try to explain why I felt that way, but that original poster, who I was connected with on social media, um, basically was saying that they had never said something online, that they didn't use that term, or some term that, just for the sake of it, it's not a bad term or anything. It's just a certain jargon when it comes to politics. And say, well, I don't talk like that. I've never said that before, and I took issue with that because I knew that he had, and then that fairly recently I'd actually read that because we're connected on social media, because he's in sort of my feeds and I see kind of what he posts, and for the most part, it's just whatever. I don't care. I knew that wasn't true. That he did use the term in passing, and I ended up finding a screenshot of him saying that. I went and found his post, or his comment, what have you, and took a quick screenshot and said, well, I mean, you have said it. Here's where you said it. And the thing was that, it doesn't make him a bad person for that, right? Saying that he doesn't use a term, maybe he forgot that he had used it or whatever. It doesn't make him a bad person, and it doesn't mean anything other than that in his case of saying he didn't use it, he was just wrong. He was just wrong, and that's okay. Just saying, hey, you do use this term, you do use this jargon from time to time, and whether or not that contributes to anything, I don't know. But I think me calling him out, I had him dead to rights on it. He couldn't sort of get out of it at that point. He basically got to the point where he basically just said he told me to fuck off. And then I think he proceeded to block me on the social media platform, which, I don't know why it had to go to that point. Again, the best case scenario is, he kind of forgot he used some jargon and it's not really a big deal. And I guess maybe he overreacted to the idea maybe that, whatever he was portraying himself to be as someone who didn't get involved in that kind of jargon or whatever, and that I'm proving that he does partake in that, really hit him in a sensitive spot. I don't know. I don't really hold it against him. I still like the guy, but getting to the point where I'm being told to fuck off and I get blocked, it just takes it to a level of, well, okay. I had originally gotten involved to try to bring some civility to a discussion and try to keep people from being so divisive when it comes to political talk, because ultimately, no matter where you're at in terms of politics, most people just want to make things better, and the definition of better is going to be different from person to person or from ideology to ideology or whatever. But for whatever reason, I ended up being this person that gets boxed out of the conversation, because what the internet does, and this is sort of the point of the video. The internet will tend to keep people honest because what you put on the internet doesn't go away. And it just so happened that in this particular social media platform, you could search somebody's post history for terms or keywords, that sort of thing, and you could find what they've said. And you could punch in what has this person ever said about elm trees. Well, you could probably find out. Well, and that's how I was able to prove that this person used the jargon that they used. And it wasn't as if I had to go searching for it. I had known that he had used it recently, and all I had to do was go find, some post from a month ago where that term was used. So it's just one of those things when it comes to the internet and when it comes to social media, it doesn't go away. Be careful what you post. It could come back to bite you, and that's why, at least for this channel, in this channel where I use my real name as the account name, everything I would try to produce is professional and lacking in any sort of issues like that or things that would draw bad vibes. But again, this person, was posting merely on their personal account, and I was discussing all of this with him and the other person on a personal account. So it's just one of those tough things, I think, that, again, when you get involved in the hobby and you get knowing folks, the hobby brings people of different thought processes, different views. And if it ever just gets to the point where trying to keep people measured and level in what they're discussing gets you, thrown out of a conversation, that's not good, but it can sometimes happen. So if you don't ever want to get, called out for something and then have to react by blocking someone or shutting down a conversation, keep in mind what you post. And if you're going to post something to the internet, like this video I'm posting here, keep that level of, I guess, awareness, and don't post anything that you don't want dragged back out of the mud, because that's the way the internet works. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the view of my part of my backyard. It's nice. Still getting used to everything, so we'll catch you later. I'll be doing more videos on World in Flames soon. See ya.